Hey there, I'm Angella Sharpe, and welcome to the Daily Mix. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I had a great weekend. Now, I know some of you know for the last a little bit over a year, I've been going back and forth between here and Tampa, working for the Tampa Bay Rays, but I decided to go all in on myself, and now I'm back in St. Louis full time. But they say you still get an American League team and a National League team, so I am taking the Rays as they are the #1 team in the MLB, and the Cardinals as they're the second team in the MLB. So going pretty good for myself. What else is going good is the Blues. They are in the second round of the playoffs. They're actually tied 1-1. They take on the Stars again tonight. A little bit later on the show, we'll get a little bit of Blues insight. I'll keep you posted on that. Now, fried, baked, mashed, there are so many ways to enjoy potatoes. But how about spending the night in one? Thanks to a gift from the Idaho Potato Commission, Airbnbers can now rent this 6-ton potato hotel that's set on 400 acres in South Boise, Idaho. No, it's not a real potato, but the 28-foot-long giant makes up for it in style and uniqueness. Decked out in millennial pink accents and plenty of houseplants, the chic spud features a queen bed, a kitchenette, a fireplace, and a small bathroom. You know that I love this, right? So me and my friends always want to go and travel to different places, and we saw really cool things like this, and like you can stay in like a mushroom, and you can stay in a treehouse. I want to go and stay in a potato just to tell everybody I stayed in a potato. How cool is that? Now, I mentioned we'll talk a little bit Blues hockey later on the show. Amy Marxkors is here. Now, I don't know if you know this or not. She is the first female to host a radio broadcast pre- and post-game for sports. I mean, we are talking about the football Cardinals, the Rams, the baseball Cardinals, and the St. Louis Blues. First female to host that. She is going to be here telling us all about that journey, and we'll get started on today's Daily Mix. Spring is in the air and in the ice cream at Clementine's. The Naughty and Nice Creamery has created a delicious bouquet that promises to please your taste buds. In their new botanical series, they feature white chocolate geranium, pistachio rosewater, jasmine tea, and a return of honey lavender. The unique new flavors are available now at both of the locations in Lafayette Square and in Clayton. You can learn more about Clementine's Creamery and their Naughty and Nice creations at clementinescreamery.com. I love that place. Now, do you have plans this Friday night? If not, the Grand Center Arts District might be the place for you. The Grand Center Arts Center is hosting their first Fridays free event. This is the perfect opportunity to see all they have to offer, including their museums, galleries, and visual arts. Meet people around St. Louis with conversation and cocktails and their happy hour specials. There's live entertainment will be provided by DJ Spin from KDHX, and get in tune with the art community here in the city. The first Friday's event takes place this Friday, May 3rd from 5 to 9 at the Grand Center Arts District on Grand and Washington. Now, if you can't make it this Friday, don't worry, because the event happens every first Friday of the month. For more information, visit grandcenter.org. Now, the best wine fest of the season is also happening this weekend. That's right, it's Rosé Day in the Central West End is back. It's the ultimate girls' night or date night event. Enjoy tasting a variety of wines and activities. There will be live entertainment, arts, games, and galleries. You can party with a purpose because proceeds from this event are donated to local nonprofits empowering women and girls in the St. Louis area. Come wine dine with Rosé Day this Saturday, May 4th from 12 to 6 at Maryland Plaza in the Central West End. Tickets and details can be found at rosedaystl.com. So in 2017, the St. Louis Board of Aldermen approved a measure to power the city entirely on clean energy by 2035. To get things started, the city is focusing on the energy use by businesses and city operations, but they need your help. They want to hear from residents to get a better idea of their clean energy needs. They'll be using the responses to the online survey to help the 100% Clean Energy Advisory Board, and that's going to help them create a plan. The survey will be online at stlouis-mo.gov/clean-energy until May 31st. Now it's that time of the year again. Cinco de Mayo is this weekend. The Cinco de Mayo Cherokee Street Festival is one of the largest and most diverse celebrations in St. Louis. Over 50,000 people attend, and it's rich in culture and multicultural events. Now, there are tons of activities to look forward to, including live music, Latin American dance performances, interactive sports, pro wrestling, I'm no joking, that's right there, traditional parade, kid-friendly games, and of course, we can't forget about the delicious food. Immerse yourself in a culture experience you won't forget. The Cinco de Mayo festivities and excitement is happening this Saturday, May 4th at Cherokee Street neighborhood in South St. Louis between the streets of Nebraska and Jefferson. For more information, visit cincodemayostl.com. And the fun doesn't stop there. Tenacious Eats is throwing a Cinco de Mayo party this Sunday. Enjoy live music followed by Latin beats spun by DJ Jose while feasting on Street Taco Bar. They've got the corn, tequila tasting, churros with chocolate sauce, and more. The festivities will take place from 11 to 4 this Sunday, May 5th at the Mad Art Gallery in Soulard. You can find more information and get your tickets at tenaciouseats.com. Now, do you want to learn more about the different ways to get around town? Then you should definitely join the St. Louis Association of Community Organizations this weekend. During the open house event, you can learn more about TrailNet, the new Metro route buses, the Lime bike share and scooter rentals. You could even take a free test drive on an electric scooter. To learn more about Lime's discount program and to grab some free snacks while you're there, the SLACO transportation program will take place this Saturday, May 4th from 1:30 to 3 at Rankin Tech. For more information, visit them at slco-mo.org. Now, after nearly 2 years and $6 million in renovations, the new Emerson Central Fields are now open. As the 30-acre Forest Park site continues to host competitive sports and community festivals, visitors will enjoy a greatly improved experience. The field service has been completely rebuilt, and 4 soccer fields and 3 rugby fields have also been added. There's a new entry plaza with bike racks and drinking fountains, and they've added an ADA-accessible pavilion. There's a concession area and restrooms with new trails and sidewalks. Central Field is easier to get to than ever before. You can learn more about the massive renovation and the field upcoming events at forestparkforever.org. And here's the perfect reason to head out to Forest Park this weekend. St. Louis Microfest returns in its 24th year. Now, if you've ever been to this craft beer festival, it is awesome. It's craft beer tastel festival paired with delicious local fare and live music. This year's event will feature 400 local and nationally craft beers from over 100 breweries and home brew clubs. Local chefs and brewers will be dishing out samples and tips and discussions at the demonstration stage both days. Now on Saturday, there'll be a 2-mile micro run and a fun and crazy Brewers Olympics. You can hear the best part and all that good stuff will happen right there at the Discussion Fest. How great is that? Microfest will take place this Friday and Saturday in the Upper Muni parking lot, and there's 3 different sessions to pick from. You can find out all the details at stlmicrofest.org, and you can learn more about Lift for Life at liftforlifegym.org. NBA veteran and St. Louis native Larry Hughes recently opened a new state-of-the-art facility to house his basketball academy. During the grand opening, Hughes explained how they're teaching more than just basketball. Check it out.
This is an outlet. You know, it's using basketball to teach young kids, give them a place to come, have good people around them, you know, and use basketball to get our message across, whether it's life skills or character development, accountability. We build that into our curriculum, and we use basketball to teach it. Our goal is to help impact young people in a positive way. We have basketball players, we have soccer players, football players, baseball players that will experience the academy. So we want to be a piece of their journey. and be a positive impact in their life.
You can watch the entire grand opening of the Larry Hughes Basketball Academy right here on STL TV and our YouTube channel. And you can find out more about the Academy, lhbasketballacademy.com. Now, last year, nearly 52,000 people came together for the Let's Move STL Flash Mob, and they're ready to do it again. The annual Move Your Body event was created to help elementary and middle school students get moving and tackle childhood obesity. It's a fun and physical activity to get them moving and grooving. Everyone is invited to come out this Friday and join in on the Move Your Body fun. Coco students and choreographed dance routines to Beyonce's Move Your Body, Uptown Funk, and Can't Stop the Feeling. It's all happening this Friday, May 3rd at 9:45 a.m. at the Ford Plaza in Busch Stadium. You can learn more at letsmovestlouis.com. And did you hear? St. Louis will be hosting the Olympic trials for the U.S. men's and women's gymnastics teams in 2020. The St. Louis Sports Commission will serve as host, and the organization will use the trials, and they will come to the Enterprise Center next year, June 25th through the 28th. During that time, the 2020 USA Gymnastics National Congression and Trade Show will also be taking place here in St. Louis at America Center. The men and women's teams will be named here in St. Louis, and then it's on to the 2020 Summer Olympic Games in Tokyo. Tickets will go on sale later this year. You can find the competition schedule and more at usagym.org. Pretty exciting stuff there, and I love exciting stuff, and we now have Amy Marxkors here with us, and I'm so excited about this because I was shocked to find out that you're the first female radio broadcaster to have a pre- and post-game sports show here in St. Louis. I was surprised that it's taken this long to have a female do that.
You know, I was surprised to find out it wasn't something that I was thinking about. I just loved hockey, and I loved listening to sports radio, whether it was the Blues on KMOX or the Rams when we had them and listening to those broadcasts on Sunday afternoon. I just loved the idea of radio broadcasting sports and being the eyes for people who are listening to the game. And yeah, I guess it just happened to be me.
Which is so cool, but we have to go back because I learned about your story a little bit, and you played hockey. And for people back then, not a lot of females played hockey. It wasn't something you saw. Like now, girls play hockey. There's girls' leagues. You see little girls playing hockey all the time. What made you want to even get involved in the sport?
You know, I was about 5 to 7 years too early before the critical mass of female hockey players hit St. Louis. So we'd have a girls' team, and girls would drive maybe 2 hours from Columbia, Missouri for practice, or sometimes I'd play on the men's league. But I got into hockey because of Wayne Gretzky. And if I back it up a little bit more, I was a huge football fan. I survived the Rich Brooks, Tony Banks years of the St. Louis Rams, and I was convinced I had a career in the NFL. I wanted to be a quarterback, and I'd spend hours out in the front yard throwing the football, working on my perfect spiral. But when Wayne Gretzky came to the Blues, I started watching hockey with a different perspective. I knew about the sport enough to know that this was a really big deal, that we were getting a great one. And as soon as I started watching the sport regularly, I fell in love with it. And I begged my parents to let me play. They'd bring me to the Blues practices out in Chesterfield. They're out at the Chesterfield rink at the time. I'd watch the practices, and hook, line, and sinker.
I love this. And you actually showed me a photo from, was that your 8th grade yearbook?
8th grade yearbook.
So in her 8th grade yearbook, get this, what did you say you wanted to be?
So I talk about loving sports and loving tennis, and it says, my ultimate goal is to be a Blues hockey announcer. And it happened.
And it happened.
It happened.
This is what I love about it. It's like you kind of knew back then that's what you wanted to do, and now you're here living that dream and being the first female. And as everybody knows, I'm a huge sports nut, and you don't see, I mean, now you're seeing more and more females, but to be the first radio broadcaster in St. Louis on that sports side has got to be kind of shocking for you.
You know, it was fun, and people have used the phrase barrier breaker, but it didn't really feel like a barrier breaking moment to me. I think it's a testament to the Blues and to KMOX that it was know your stuff, work hard, and earn your right for that opportunity, and it happened. I've heard the phrase you can't be what you can't see, and they've said that a lot with women's sports, and maybe I'm a goofball, but I never thought that, because when I wanted to be in the NFL, it never occurred to me that there weren't any other female NFL players, or when I wanted to be a Blues broadcaster, it never occurred to me that there weren't female broadcasters. I really believed that I didn't make it into the NFL just because of size. I'm like, well, a guy my size wouldn't make it into the NFL, so it never occurred to me.
It wasn't a woman-man thing.
It wasn't, and it never was with the radio side either.
Well, I love this, and the Blues now have, I'm going to go on a limb here and say, the best shot they've had at the Stanley Cup probably ever, because the other teams aren't as comparable. What are you looking forward to tonight? They take on that third game in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Right, hopefully a victory. The Blues have played really well on the road, and what you said is actually true. I have this feeling that this is a good year for this team for several reasons. You have all the top dogs are out. So many of the big teams, like the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Washington Capitals, the Pittsburgh Penguins, they're out. They're gone already. And then you look at this Blues squad, and there's so much more to a championship team than just being good on paper. The Blues have had a lot of teams that are good on paper, but you have to be strong down the middle, and their center depth is unlike any other. You have to have several guys have career years, and you could look at guys like Oscar Sundqvist, Ryan O'Reilly, and then you have to have several extraordinary outliers, and I think Jordan Binnington qualifies as an extraordinary outlier.
I mean, talk about saving the Blues season, really. I mean, he came in, I think nobody really expected him to do as well as he's done, but he is taking on St. Louis native Ben Bishop, who's in the goal for the Stars. So that's got to be a little bit, that's an interesting thing, because Ben is up for an award.
You're right, he's up for the Vezina. I mean, he's been putting up incredible numbers, although I'll say Jordan Binnington had the best numbers since January when he joined, and I don't know, there's no love lost for me. I'm like, you're from St. Louis, doesn't matter. What's on the front of your chest, a star?
That's what we're playing for.
You're dead to me.
This I love. What do you think you're going to take this role? And I know that you said you don't view it as breaking barriers, but where do you feel like you can take this?
I'm just enjoying it right now. And people say, where do you want to take this? I'm like, the Stanley Cup final? that's where I want to go. That's where I'm focused
You're
right
really
now.
Just looking to that.
I'm looking to that. Yeah, I'm enjoying every step of the way. I get to work with such great people on a daily basis. Chris Kerber, Joey Vitale, Darren Pang, John Kelly, and to be able to tell Panger, like, it's the National Hockey League, Panger. It's fun.
Right. We're having a great time. Now, people might not know you've written a couple books.
I have. I've written 2 books. The first one is called The Lola Papers, and it is my journey from being a hockey player to a serious marathoner, 2 totally different sports. And then the second book is called Powered by Hope, and it's a biography of a woman named Terry Grieg from St. Louis who overcame drug addiction and alcoholism and got into the Ironman, and then right after an Ironman, 2 weeks later, was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer and was given only 2 years to live. And yet she trained for the Ironman World Championships in Kona, Hawaii, while undergoing chemo and radiation. Incredibly inspiring story.
That's crazy. That sounds like a book people might want to see. Where could they find your books?
Yeah, you can buy them Amazon, Barnes & Noble, The Lola Papers, Powered by Hope. My last name is pretty German, pretty unusual, so if you type it in, it should pop up.
It should pop right up. I love everything about this, and I love everything about your story. And you actually said you were homeschooled. Mm-hmm. Do you think that kind of helped guide you down the right path to, your end career goals?
Absolutely. I like to say I'm a first grade dropout. Haven't been in a classroom in a long time because I loved hockey and I was homeschooled. I could do classes at home, but I also had flexibility of schedule, which meant my mom, when I was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, could drive me to the hockey rink so I could, 1, play hockey, because a lot of times I was playing men's hockey. There weren't as many girls' teams. And 2, could drive me to the Blues practices. I'd flag down the players, Al McInnes, Jeff Courtnall, Paul Demetra, the coaches, Joe Quinville, and I'd interview them. And then I'd write my high school essays and stories. And so from a very young age, I was writing about hockey. And it also instilled in me the skills that you need to be a writer. A lot of lonely hours. You have to be self-motivated.
All by yourself.
Yes. Self-delegate, be poor. And so that's, I kind of learned that you just have to motivate yourself and keep working hard.
I have to know, you interviewed some of those players when you were 12.
Yeah.
Did any of them recognize you now?
Yeah, it's been really fun. Al McInnes, of course, has always remembered me and been really, really friendly. It's so cool that he congratulated me after I hosted the radio broadcast. And so he's seen the whole journey. But a really fun one, Marc Bergevin, who played for the Blues, is now the general manager for the Montreal Canadiens. The Montreal Canadiens. And when the Canadiens came in town last year to play the Blues, of course, he's surrounded by all the Montreal media, the French media, the English media. Right. And I was able to say, Mr. Bergevin, I don't know if you remember me, but 20 years ago, oh my goodness. And we were able to talk for about 20 minutes and hugged it out. And it was so fun. And I thought, I kind of had to pinch myself. I'm like, that's the general manager of the Montreal Canadiens.
Right, and anybody who knows hockey knows what a big deal that is.
Exactly.
And you already met him years ago.
Years ago.
I mean, did it hit you in that moment what a full circle kind of situation this is?
It really did. It did. And I think it also probably made him feel pretty old. He's like, oh my gosh, how old are you now? Don't call me mister. And the same thing with Jamie Compon, who's an assistant coach for the Winnipeg Jets. He always says hi, because when I was playing hockey, actually, he sometimes would join our little pickup game. So I'd sit on the bench next to Jamie Compon, who was the Blues video coach at the time, now assistant coach with the Winnipeg Jets, and he'd give me hockey tips. So even when the Winnipeg Jets were in town, he'd kind of do the little tip of the head, and so it was fun.
I love this. Can somebody find out more about you?
Yeah, it's my Twitter handle, Amy Marxkors, just at Amy Marxkors, and I also have a website, amymarxkors.com, which tells a little bit about me, and you can also contact me there.
Well, what I love is that, I mean, I know you said you didn't notice it, but first female radio broadcaster in sports. Hopefully there'll be a lot more female broadcasters coming up behind you in the sports world, and that's pretty exciting. And of course, you can hear yourself tonight on the pre and post broadcast.
Pre-intermission, post-game with Alex Ferrario.
Awesome, and I'll be listening and watching because, of course, everybody in St. Louis is hoping for that big win. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yay! All right, and everybody, don't forget, you can also check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. You can drop us a line right here at the Daily Mix at stltv.net. We want to hear from you. That's going to do it for the Daily Mix, but keep it right here on STL TV and experience St. Louis.